Well, the announcement of the composition of the cabinet's done and dusted now. What does the new administration need to do next? South Africa needs sturdy leadership, and that leadership needs to prioritize policy certainty, a credible economic plan, and the restoration of accountability. Well, at least that's the word from David Marobe, Executive General Manager at Business Partners Limited, a leading risk financier. David, thanks very much indeed for coming in. So, as a risk financier, you've had your clients actually watch very carefully what had happened this week. And when you look at the composition of that cabinet, does it make the country less riskier than it was before?
Look, it's a step in the right direction.
Yep.
They have reduced the size of the cabinet from what it was previously. I think there are people in key ministries that have been introduced. You've just been talking about the Labour Minister. And hopefully those people, I think what's important is not just the cosmetic change, but that they will run as a common thread, implement that policy, provide the policy certainty that is required, make sure that there's a stable regulatory environment out there, and importantly, implement a solid economic recovery plan. And I think with that, we can say this cabinet is what we needed as a citizenry in the country.
So you have the implementation of a recovery plan, and at the same time, I want to point out this newly formed ministry where you're combining employment and labour. To what extent do you think this will go a long way to understanding the very structural issues we have with unemployment in the country? Because investors watch our jobless rate very carefully as well, don't they?
Yes, I would say, look, it's good to have employment and labor combined.
Yeah.
But what is important is this. It is business, not government, that creates jobs. So what we need to do from government, or what government needs to do, is to create or to ensure that there is an enabling economic environment, as well as a relatively easy way or ease of doing business. There's an environment where business can do that which it does best. And then that's an environment that we can see that businesses can be invested in. They can be able to go and create the jobs that they do. It's one thing to have that department, as you rightfully point out, but for me, what is important is a small business ministry, which has been given a new champion. I think it's Ms. Kumbuzo and Chaveni. I'm hoping that she will touch the right notes and spur on our economy by making sure that new entrepreneurs come up and create the jobs that we require in the economy.
I want to chat about that in a moment, but let's pick up on an earlier point. You spoke about the enablers or the ease of doing business. The World Bank has an interesting index on that, but we're currently sitting at 82 or 80. The president wants to actually improve that position to around about 50 or so. Is that a tough task, because there's just so many components that really assess whether or not it's easy to do business in this country? So we've got to tweak a few things, don't we?
Yes. I think there must be some of those that we say would be quick wins for us.
Yeah.
That regulatory environment. If you go and ask for a permit to open your business, how long does it take you? If you register a business, just access to electricity. What are we doing about making sure that we've got a stable electricity supplies? So those components that are there are about 10 of them that you can look at. But we should pick and take them with bite-sized chunks over the 5 years that this current administration has been given to show that they can address the things that are required to get the economy on a trajectory that we require.
Because ultimately, if you want to translate that loads of investment we secured last year through the Job Summit and Investment Summit, that transition into actual jobs will largely depend on whether or not we have an enabling environment.
Certainly. I think what we need to do is to create investor confidence, not just externally, but internally as well, because external investors are looking what is being done, what is the private sector doing that can show that there's confidence in the economy. I think from the sturdy leadership that we're talking about, leadership of President Ramaphosa must harness us all, private sector and public sector alike, to invest in this economy, to make sure that we address the issues that are there. You talked about the unemployment levels here, but the highest component of this high unemployment is the youth. Create opportunities for those youth, train them, apprentice them, private sector and public sector alike, and the external people can see something is happening. We're investing in the future of the country. Remember, the economy is changing as well. It's going to be new skills that are required, not just technical skills. We're talking about the fourth industrial revolution. What type of skills are we creating in our economy? Are we leaving them to sit on the margin or being ready to compete with the rest of the world?
Can some of that youth find themselves in small business? So you've mentioned the small business industry a moment ago. Do you think we'll be doing anything different that we didn't do or we did a few years back? Because for some reason we just can't seem to get traction in oiling this industry as much as we want to, or the sector?
I think for me, or for the country as a whole, investing in small and medium businesses is paramount. It's important, and that importance cannot be overemphasized. For us as business partners, we invest about R1 billion per annum into this sector. But I'm sure you'll agree with me, we need more. And I think if you look in the run-up to the elections, all parties talked about the small business issue. And I think what is important now is to make sure that those funds that were committed by the finance minister, to make sure that there's a small business and innovation fund, as well as incentives for industrial businesses, get to be rolled out, and they go to the intended beneficiaries. If that happens, I will know that we are on the right trajectory. We can get those businesses getting the money that they need and getting unleashing the economy per se by making entrepreneurs do that which they do best, as I said earlier.
David, thanks very much indeed for coming in and for your insights. David Borobe, from Business Partners Limited.